Sean Sewell with Engearment.com podcast, one day before the end of 2024, welcoming in 2025. What a fun year 2024 has been for us, the Engearment team. We've grown to over 50 riders, welcoming on some very talented journalists, adventurers, and just all around amazing outdoor recreationists and adventurers of all kinds, men and women, different ages, different parts of the country, different sports and activities. It's been a lot of fun. And I want to take you on a little journey. So 10 years ago, this month, December, we started Engearment. And why did we start Engearment? Well, my friend Dave Marcus and myself really enjoyed researching gear. We'd be on Backpacking Light in the forums. We would go on to backcountry.com and rei.com and leave reviews on gear we've purchased through them. And just always outside testing gear, making spreadsheets, and just really curious how things work and can we make it better? Can we get the best kit possible for backcountry skiing or for backpacking or car camping and all the fun things we enjoyed doing. And so before we started Engearment, we would shoot videos and kind of just put them up here and there on like not Venmo, Vimeo, places like that. And then I started like writing some articles, and we were recognized by backcountry.com as the number one and number two reviewers. Like they would rank the reviewers on, being helpful. And so Dave was number one, I was number two. And it was really encouraging that people were enjoying our reviews on backcountry.com and upvoting them and stuff and thumbs up on REI and so forth. So backcountry.com invited us out to their headquarters in Park City, Utah, to meet with the CEO and some marketing people. And we had a great time. It was a really cool office. It was just what you would imagine it to be, at least 10 years ago. And we're walking around with my friend Lexi. She was ran some marketing there. She's a really great person, Lexi Dell. And she's introducing us to the CEO and all the people running the show. And they're really pleasant, and everybody's, just down to earth, awesome. And they had some really nice things to say, that they really appreciated the reviews we're doing, and we're wondering if we'd like to do it more directly. Like they could send us some gear, we could go test it, shoot some videos on how it works, that whole thing. So we were really excited about that. So Dave and I were just over the moon about that opportunity to do that. And then we come back to Denver, and I feel like a week or two later, we're getting ramped up. We're like getting action cameras and little lavalier microphones to plug into the phone and stuff like that to try and step up our level of production, because the previous ones were just shot on a cell phone, which is what the tool we had at the time, or like a GoPro or something like that. And some kind of something happened at Backcountry. I think a change in management, or they got bought by a different conglomerate, and so the opportunity fizzled out. And so Dave and I were up camping and kind of threw ourselves a little pity party and hanging out around the campfire. And I was kind of thinking, man, if it's good enough for Backcountry, it's probably good enough for the public. Maybe we should start our own business doing this. And Dave came up with the name Engearment. We had enough cell service to file the articles of incorporation on our cell phones while we were camping. And we started Engearment. And when we started Engearment, the goal was to be a face of people who care about gear. Like my title before being the owner, now the owner, and the director of Stoke, was gear advocate. I just wanted to show how gear worked and be an advocate for the gear to see if that gear is the right thing for you or your family. That was it. Wasn't to get views or likes or subscribers or even compensation. Like we weren't getting paid by anybody. We're going out buying the gear ourselves, buying the camera equipment, shooting videos, editing it on iMovie. Still do for most of our stuff. I think I use CapCut more now than iMovie. But yeah, we're just two dirtbags out there doing it. And for the first year or two, it was just him and I. And we would get the gear. We would crash trade shows. I remember SIA came to Denver, and it was 2000, I think it was 14. We applied to get in, And some of the criteria was like, how many viewers do you have on your website? And I think you need to like 20,000 or 10,000 or 30,000 to get in. We're like, yeah, we have that many. I think we probably had like 8 people, but we snuck in. We got our badges, and the very first place we went right to Patagonia and met Corey Simpson and told him, I showed him a video of us reviewing some stuff of theirs that we had purchased, and he was so impressed with that at our tenacity and hustle, that we would be willing to sneak into a trade show to share our stoke with them. Word traveled pretty quick at that trade show, so we would just walk up, get meetings with people, and stand in line. How it works in trade shows is you book slots like weeks, if not months ahead, and it's established and it's structured, I should say. Not the way we did it. We're just two dirtbags amped up on a whole lot of free coffee and tacos, running around the trade center or the convention center floor, just talking to anybody that gives us the time of day. And a lot of people were really excited about that genuine enthusiasm and raw, just go get it, as opposed to structured on assignment for Outside Magazine or Men's Journal kind of thing. We were just winging it, right? And it showed. It definitely showed. Those first few interviews were rough, but it earned us reputation. We earned respect of the companies and, most importantly, of the readers and the viewers, and now the listeners of the podcast. So everything we do, we want to do with integrity, with positive intent. There's no sponsored content. We say no pretty often. I get asked probably 30, 40 times a day on things that I just say hard no on. And then there's 10 more things a day that I will pass on to other riders and see if they're curious about it. So it's not just all, everything coming in, flooding in. At first it was. We would take almost anything from anybody. We're like, cool, yeah, we'll find a way to review this. But it got pretty overwhelming. And honestly, caused some strains on our relationships with our spouses, with our friends. I also run a business called Personal Fitness. And so running two businesses at the same time is pretty challenging. So had to learn how to say no. That's a hard thing as a person who's really curious about stuff. It's hard to say no to that, to anything really. So fast forward a few years, and like I mentioned, it's challenging with just two of us. Some other people came on board. Dave brought on a friend for about a month or two. I went to a kettlebell certification through Strong First, met a really wonderful woman, Elena, and she came on, provided great insights, but we didn't manage them very well. I'm not a manager. I'm a director, right? I'm good at leading. Like, I'm really, really good at leading, but I'm horrible at micromanaging. I don't like being managed myself, so I don't manage people. And a lot of the writers probably get a little frustrated by the lack of structure and deadlines and stuff, but hopefully they also appreciate their freedom and the long, long leash. So a couple years go by. A few writers have come on that I've met now. Aaron Rose and Kate Agathan, who are still on the team. Kate came from Gear Junkie, and Aaron I met through the backcountry splitboarding group. I run a Facebook group, and now Aaron runs it mostly, with about 20,000 members as a private group for backcountry skiers and splitboarders. And Aaron was on the group, and we wanted to link up and hit it off. And Aaron's been with the team ever since. So then Aaron and Kate and Dave and I, there's 4 of us. And Dave is an attorney. That's his practice. That's his job and education. And he was going to go to a new practice, and so Engearment wasn't fitting into his schedule with a family of 2 kiddos and a wife and practicing law. And so I approached him about, just let me take over for a while, and then things slow down in your work life and personal life. Come back, whenever you want, and you can be the captain again. And he was very kind about it, and he understood how important Engearment was to myself and to Aaron and to Kate. And so it was a very quick transition. So October of 2018, I took over Engearment, and it was a crazy time in my life. I was caretaking both my parents. Like, Engearment, I'm going to go into a little bit of the sad stuff for a minute, but it's all part of the growth, and there is positive out of this. So engearment for a lot of us riders is a great outlet, a therapeutic outlet, gives us something to look forward to, sometimes distracts us from some major life events. One of the major life events I went through when I was with engearment at the beginning was my sister developed brain cancer, and I became her caretaker, power of attorney. And as I visit her in hospice, I realized I couldn't be in front of people coaching them for training, but I could go in there and spend time with her when she's napping. I can edit videos and articles and stuff like that, so I could find a way to help people and be with my sister at the same time. So I really found even more value in engearment because now I can do this in the downtimes when I'm taking care of my family. After she passed, I really, really doubled down on engearment. I went out and got microphones and better cameras and really it instilled in me how temporary and how quick life can be. I had already lost my younger brother. Now I lost my sister, and now I'm taking care of my mom and my dad. Both are disabled. My dad's a disabled vet. And as I'm taking care of them, I'm realizing I can leave a better legacy than just one-on-one coaching. I mean, I'm doing good for people. I've helped people lose a lot of weight and get really, really healthy and do a lot of amazing things. But I can help even more people around the world by writing articles, by doing interviews, by shooting videos on how things work, how gear works. I have an online school as well. I just love teaching, called Mountain Fitness School. You can check it out if you want to. And so I figure I can leave a better impact in the world if I focus on this. And I've still run my coaching business. I do that as much as I do engearment. But the engearment I can do at any place in the world at any time. And that's pretty awesome to be able to do that. And then, so after I take it over, it's Kate and Aaron and myself. And within about 6 months, a handful of other writers came up, reached out. And I was like, I'm really not good at managing people. I don't know if you can, handle that kind of workflow. And they did. They all stepped up. They were good at managing themselves. And so I would pitch them to companies and say, hey, we have a whitewater guide up in Washington State. We have a ski patroller down in Durango. We have this person over here as a bow hunter. We have this person, the team started growing and growing and growing. And it was amazing. Now we're over 50 riders, and each of those riders are people that I met on a skin trek, or I was up camping and they were camping a few spots over, and our dogs met each other. And next thing you know, we're swapping stories. And here's a fun one. So I go to Jones Pass pretty often. That's where I go camp and splitboard. And it's so often that people joke there's an area called Sean's Run, and it really is. It's actually pretty fun. And I'm going up to Sean's Run, and I have a tent from Hilleberg, and I'm setting it up and shooting a video for it, and I look over, and somebody else has the exact same tent. Now, this tent's not out yet. This person, his name is Drew Thayer, was writing for, I believe, Fire and Ice or some kind of climbing magazine, and Hilleberg had lent them a tent, and they gave it to Drew to go test out for a few weeks. And so what are the chances that there's this, prototype tent in the middle of nowhere backcountry on the area that they call Sean's Run. So obviously Drew and I hit it off. And now Drew has been part of the engearment team for 6 years, has 2 kiddos, and he's our avid rock climber, trail runner, backcountry skier. I mean, I can't keep up with him. He's fast. He's awesome. Have an article going live as I record this, all covering Patagonia backcountry gear. So back to the Patagonia. It's pretty awesome to just get an email from Patagonia on a Friday night and say, hey, can't share this with the public, but here's what's coming out for next year. You and the team want to get your hands on anything? It's pretty awesome. And so over the last 10 years, we've built these relationships where we can literally text, call, swing by, or email these companies, and they get right back to us same day. And they're very enthusiastic about it. As you can tell, we are with them and with you. And these relationships are just organic. Again, nothing's sponsored. We just really love the outdoors. We love gear, and we love people, and we love teaching. And hopefully that comes across in all that we do. And I touched on numbers earlier. I don't care about numbers, subscribers, views, any of that stuff. It is nice to track it and look at it and be like, oh, 22,000 people watched this video this week and 140 shares of it. But the questions in the dialogue and the people answering other people's questions that I've never met before is really encouraging. It's like an online educational facility, right? So I try and answer as many questions as possible. 98% of the questions are awesome. There's about 2% that are just make you cringe. So I do go through and for the greater good, I try not to take anything personal, but for the greater good of the group, I block a lot of people. I probably block a lot of people because I just don't want any weeds in our engearment garden. I want to cultivate a wonderful, flourishing, healthy garden. And to do that takes a little bit of effort, a little bit of work, and hopefully you guys don't get to see the weeds. I'll take care of the weeds, and that will just give more opportunity for life for the garden to grow, if you get my analogy. But if we're looking at numbers, as of this morning, there's 18,000 subscribers. We have, I think, 8 million views, which is wild. We have 2,500 videos. That's wild. On average, I try and put up 5 videos per week. I could easily do more, but I'm trying to keep it consistent. And I post at noon, usually noon, unless there's a reason to, something goes live from like BioLight at 9 a.m. Central, then I'll try and time it at the same time. That way when people see it on the news, maybe they read it on a different media publication, and they're curious how it works. Well, we've had it for 2 months, and I can show you how it works right as you're looking for it. So sometimes I'll time it in line with launches, but usually it's noon Mountain Time. And it's not just myself doing the videos, obviously. Putting up some videos for Devin Dowd, who's been amazing, and Clay Farnsley. They're both over at our house this weekend for my birthday party. My birthday is the day after Christmas, which is pretty hard to celebrate, so I try and push it out a few days. So we had some Engearment riders over and their families and kiddos this weekend. It was a lot of fun. Didn't talk about gear, just caught up about how everybody's doing through the holidays. And kind of wild that Hanukkah lined up at the same time as Christmas. We have a lot of Orthodox Jewish riders, and we have other riders like myself. So it's kind of fun to be able to celebrate holidays at exactly the same time. So we're a family. We're just a big family of outdoor loving gear nerds, and it probably shows in the videos. And again, it's fun because there's no pressure. We're not sponsored by anybody. We're not like pimping out products. I hate when I see comments, oh, this is sponsored content or influencer stuff. It's not. We are we are not. I'm equal opportunity for North Face as I am Arc'teryx, as I am Patagonia, as I am some grandma down the street selling backpacks in her garage. It's all equal. And what's cool too is I get to meet a lot of people from these companies, the big ones, the small ones, and the in-betweens. And generally, they're all on the same page. They just want to help people get outside. They're not out like anti this company or anti that company. They're just pro outdoors. So hopefully hearing that can alleviate some of the bias maybe people have about gear and like competition in business and dog eat dog. It's really not. The way we see it, it's rising tides raise all ships, right? And I've never seen a dog eat a dog. I don't know that analogy, where it comes from or why it's there, but my dog gets along with dang near every dog. Dogs. I just love dogs. We often will get our neighbors into our courtyard right here and have a little dog party. I kid you not. We love dogs. We love dogs. Okay, so that's the history of Engearment, how it came to be, how we grew into 50 plus riders, who we are. I could go on, and I need to go on individually about each rider and share with you more about them, and I think I will this year. I'll try and find time to interview each of the riders so you can understand where they're coming from, their angles, their excitement, and sharing their joy. I get to do it every day, so I don't want to take it for granted. I want to share that with you. All right, let's cover what's coming up. Next month will be the OMA, Outdoor Market Alliance event. We do this twice a year. This is where we get to go interview 40 50, 60 companies and see what's coming out for next year. So long as there's no embargo, we don't have to sign any NDAs, which does happen from time to time, then I can share with you what's coming up from a lot of big companies. Like you've seen the channel, you know the companies, everything you can think of that might be at REI, we're going to meet with. So one sip of water here. Oh, and swag. We have really cool mugs, or like Yeti, but not Yeti. You've probably heard Yeti bought Mystery Ranch and is going to close down all but the military operations. Pretty mixed feelings about that. But this is not a Yeti brand. This is our brand. So you can purchase those on our YouTube channel. And also stickers. I've got so many stickers. I would love to send you some. I've got regular stickers for Engearment. I've got clear stickers. I've got shiny stickers. I have hologram stickers that are pretty fun. I'd be happy to send you some. And also, I have some Beacon Bash stickers. The Beacon Bash. Let me talk about Beacon Bash. So we had our 7th or 8th annual Beacon Bash at the Front Range. Front Range is in Colorado. This year, instead of Winter Park, which Winter Park has been great to work with, they bend over backwards for us. They literally have city council meetings for the Beacon Bash and cover all the paperwork and all that for us. But this year we wanted to keep it a little closer to Denver so people can attend and not get stuck on Berthoud Pass, which has happened 2 out of the last 3 times for the Beacon Bash. So if you can't get to the bash, you can't enjoy the bash, right? And it's also not safe to get stuck in the avalanche. So to alleviate that and keep everything safe and a little bit closer, we hosted it at Loveland Ski Resort, which is right off I-70. It's the closest resort to Denver. And they gave us, there's 2 parts to Loveland. There's Loveland Ski Resort and there's Loveland Basin. They gave us all of Loveland Basin, all of it, to use. And we had a couple hundred people show up. We had vendors and food trucks and all kinds of booths set up. We had 2 beacon parks set up. We had demonstrations from guides, Justin Ibarra. We had people from Colorado Avalanche Information Center discuss the current snowpack conditions. I put on a little presentation on how to mobilize your body physically before going on a tour, climbing mountains, before you go ski them down or snowboard down them. And then we had a raffle with split boards and skis and beacons and probes and shovels and clothing, Arc'teryx, Weston, a big list, like $10,000 worth of gear. It was a lot of fun. And I was very meaningful because I also got to bring my wife and my dog to witness it because they have not been to them before. And I wanted her to see like the magic of our dirtbag gala, basically. Everybody in the community comes out for this. It's a lot of fun. And last year, we took the Beacon Bash to Ski Sante Fe, and this year we're going to do that as well. That'll be on January 11th, 2 weeks from now. And again, this is a free event. If you are in the Santa Fe area or close to there, it's really fun. It's even more low-key than the Front Range one. I'm going to camp in the parking lot. We're going to set up our beacon stations, our beacon search areas. We're going to have the Taos Mountain Rescue Dogs there. That's who we're raising money for. We're raising money for dogs. That's how much we love dogs. We're traveling to a different state to raise money for dogs. Let that sink in. So we'll be at Ski Sante Fe. It's free. You can learn how to use a beacon probe and shovel. If you have a beacon probe and shovel, you can practice your skill set in the beacon parks we'll have set up. We'll have demonstrations again. I think we're probably going to bury Wade's daughter in the snow again, safely, and we'll have one of the dogs or 2 of the dogs come rescue her. It's pretty fun to observe that. And speaking of girls, I'm going to leave you the last part. This is one of my favorite things that happened this year. To 10 years of Engearment, great. 18,000 subs, great. 50+ riders, awesome. The reviews we get to work on and all the fun stuff is really amazing. But I touched on how much I love to teach, and I love kiddos. We have 4 nieces. I see them every weekend. I just took them to the zoo last night to go check out the nighttime lights and the animals. And 3 of the 4 are in Girl Scouts. So I was asked to come speak to the Girl Scout troop about snow, all things snow, so they can earn their snow badge. So I went in there with splitboard, backpack full of all the backcountry essentials, clothing systems, and I was allotted 4 or 5 minutes to speak, and I was going to just talk about how to dress for cold and for snow in the mountains. And then I had the split board and the backpack and the helmet and all their stuff as a prop because I just have it in my truck and I was like, I can lay it out here and yada yada. So I do my little spiel on how to dress for the cold, and the girls were super curious, very receptive. Each one asked 10 questions each, and there's 20 girls. So it turned into about a half an hour. And how it really got going was, yeah, with the clothing, interesting. But one of the girls asked, why is there a line going through that snowboard? And so I showed her that's actually a split board. And then all the volunteers, the adult volunteers, jaws dropped, like, what is that? I'm like, oh, well, I can tell you more. I wrote the book out. I had the book with me. And so it was, I have the book right here. All right. Yeah. I wrote the book on splitboarding. So it's on Amazon if you want to buy it. That's how much I love splitboarding and teaching it, especially with little kiddos. So I had the time of my life talking with this troop, showing them how splitboarding works. Then I asked them, okay, what's in my backpack? If you were going to go climb a mountain, what would you carry? And they're like, first aid kit. I'm like, yep, here's a first aid kit. What are you going to do if this equipment breaks? Repair kit. Yep, here's a repair kit. And so forth and so forth. And you can tell I've got goosebumps right here. It was a lot of fun. It was a highlight of my year. Yep, love teaching. So here at Engearment, it's not just about gear and showing you gear. It's really about communities, whether the community is people asking questions in the comments, answering each other's questions, sharing observations on how they use the gear, showing us and telling us where in the world they are and where they use the gear, to in-person events like the Beacon Bash. It's a 501c3 nonprofit that we started because we love to keep people safe and educate them. Beacon Bash, established when, 2016, 18? So yeah. And then teaching Girl Scouts, get them their snow badge. A lot of fun stuff. All right, this has been the longest podcast in a while, 26 minutes. So I'll wrap it up here with nothing but love and appreciation for all of you out there. I hope that you all had a great holiday season. I wish you the best in 2025, and we will continue to do our best to serve your interest and helping you learn what gear is best for whatever application you want to use it for. And as always, take care.